On Monday, it sounded like you expected to have about 3 days run up to the game as far as practices and such. Just wondering a general update of what you guys have been able to do and such.
Well, yesterday was our first practice, and obviously, most coaches, and I'm sure one of them is, you worry about your conditioning, number one, and then you worry about just everybody being in sync. This has been a different kind of year for us, and because we kind of, it was obvious at the beginning of the season we played pretty hard, but we're still not totally in sync in doing all the things instinctively that we need to have done. For instance, when little things that give you those 4 to 8 points in transition that we have been accustomed to getting, we're not getting. We got 3 guys who are just not totally in sync. Yesterday in practice, Tenard gets a rebound and he looks toward Sadar. Well, Sadar, in the first place, if he shouldn't even be hanging around, he should be gone. But Sadar has gotten in the habit of taking an outlet pass where he doesn't get an outlet pass when Tenard gets the rebound. So he looks to the left to Sadar, finally said, no, throw it back to Scotty. And so now you lose that 1,001, 1,002 in transition, and we lose those 4 to 8 points that we get, and we still struggling in those areas. And it doesn't look like very much during if you're watching the game, but when the ball goes out of bounds and our 4-man takes the ball out of bounds, I don't need anybody waiting around for the outlet, but one person. Well, I got a guy on the right, a guy on the left. So now when we get the ball to the point guard, we have nobody to kick the ball to. We normally cross the court after one dribble if we can't kick it. Well, I got guys going down the strong side the whole time, so we're not getting point-to-post passes in transition. And then I got post guys stopping at the free throw line. They should be at the halo. So that's another few points. Those things are happening at a rate that because of guys move on to new positions, us being dependent on new guys. And so you lose that when you have a pause because you become consistent through repetition, and confidence comes from everybody doing the same thing and executing. And we're not there, and so I'm concerned that are we going to lose a little bit of rhythm? Don't know. Only way I'm going to find out is Saturday as we play against another team. And in our league, you don't really know what kind of personality the game's going to take. And I just know that in February 13th, everybody should be hitting on all cylinders. And, we had a little stretch there where this team kind of got in sync, but it was in sync because we script some things to give them some direction, whereas I've been accustomed to having 3 or 4 things we're doing and allowing them to flow into it. It makes it more difficult to defend. And right now we're not there. So I'm concerned. I'm anxious to get back on the court. Let's see, can we recapture, our momentum? It should be obvious to you guys that probably Georgia Tech's a little better than what we thought. They outplayed us, no question about that. And they've had a lot of near victories, along the way. And this is the kind of league that someone mentioned that, it's kind of, the face is kind of changing. And so Wake Forest, for instance, is a tremendous perimeter shooting team. Who would figure? They won 1 or 2 games in our league, but that's the nature of our league. So Yeah, this is, I am concerned. Um, and the only way we're going to find out is on Saturday, see where we are.
Go to Ira.
Coach, because so many teams have played such different schedules and like so many games have been postponed, like I know you guys have only played 8 league games. Some teams have played like 13 and some teams haven't played anybody yet. And some teams, is it hard to even get a sense? Like you were talking about Georgia Tech, is it hard to get a sense for who each team is because so many teams haven't even played each other yet?
Yeah, we told our guys early on that this was the kind of year we could expect, and that we had to have a level of maturity where we couldn't worry about anything other than what we can control. And what we can control is our preparation, our focus, and being mature enough not to get caught up in, well, if we miss these games, what is it going to count? If we play these games, what does that mean? The only thing we can control is the hand that's been dealt with to us. And if we're mature enough to stay focused, and let's just keep getting better, keep trying to focus. But this is not who we are. We still are learning. Yesterday in our preparation for the upcoming game, which is Coach Young's preparation, he went back and pulled up some video of some of the things that we were doing a few years ago in terms of our aggressiveness, in terms of, how we were, we had the boom squad and the aggressiveness and the hand activity and the energy that those guys played with to kind of give some of our players a visual of what we're talking about. And some of the guys were really, the new guys were kind of taken back a little bit, like, wow, we're not quite there. We're not quite at that level, of aggressiveness, and which was an eye opener to our guys. So I'm saying this to say, Ira, that let's worry about what we control. Let's get this let's see how close we can come to our junkyard defense. Let's see how close we can come to executing what we have in our offensive package, where we don't have to be out saying, well, so we just can get consistent where we know where everybody is, where our cuts are hard and we run to our checkpoints and we sprint to set our ball screens. We rolling hard. We catching and snatching the ball. Our eyes are like a camera. We're seeing the whole floor. I mean, we have to get to a point where we all can depend. If I dribble to the baseline and I can't throw it to the front of the rim, or I know I got a bailout guy over here. I know I got a guy I can kick it to on those side, on the opposite wing. I got to know. And right now we're not there. We got guys that, a guy dribbles to the baseline and he gets stopped. Well, he need to automatically be able to turn back, and there should be a guy there waiting on him. We're not there. Our new guys, they'll post up at the ACC, need to be at the halo. We need to get them all the way deep in the lane. We got a guy walking instead of sprinting. We got a guy rolling with his back to the basket as opposed to opening up to the ball. Not because they're trying to be defiant. The things we have in our system, they're just not habits yet. We were shooting the ball at a high clip. We were really shooting the ball with. Well, like Malik started off like maybe 2 or 3 of even 11. Well, I think he's a good shooter. He's a pick and pop guy. But so I had to have confidence in him to let him. So now we're playing against a tough game. He go out and hit 2 threes. That's where we've been, and that's the only thing that kind of hurts you when you have these pauses, because you can't get in that rhythm and the confidence that comes with a little success, the feeling, the mentally, the emotional feeling that you get. We needed to play games after losing at Georgia Tech. We need to make that move and say, yes, we're still a good team. And we missed that a little bit, when you lose a game, that fire that you get from that urge to go out and want to get that bad taste out of your mouth. We we kind of missed that a little bit. So, you know, that's my response to your question.
Thanks.
Go to Antoine Staley.
Hey, Coach. Just want to talk about your relationship with Steve Forbes, and also what do you think about the Wake Forest team that's coming in on Saturday?
So you're not going to ask me about the slow starts, huh?
Well, I mean, you hadn't been on the court recently, so I can't.
Hey, it's been really slow, huh? Well, obviously, I've known Steve for a long time. You know, obviously, he was at the University of Tennessee, and then he obviously was here in the Panhandle, doing an outstanding job coaching. Steve is what you call a player's coach. You know, he has the ability to relate to his players, get them to play at a high level of intensity, and his teams play very, very hard. He's a very good recruiter. You know, he's one of those guys that players relate to. He relates to them. He has the ability to get the most out of them, and that's not as easy as sometimes it looks, especially when you're building a program. There's no question that he's going to get it going. He'll, even though they have not won as many games as I'm sure they would like. When I go back and look and evaluate them, you see how close they have been in a lot of games. In other words, 7 games, 7 points at Virginia, 9 points maybe at Louisville. Or, you know, I mean, I can't remember exact games, but they were always been within striking distance. I'd say of 80% of the games that they've lost, and that's kind of scary when you know that when 70% of all ACC games are decided by 4 points or less, and then they're losing games by 7, 8, 9 points. You know that he's maximizing his talents. And I was watching, I think it was North Carolina State game, and they were down a little bit at halftime. And the energy that they came back out in the first 3 or 4 possessions of the second half was just eye-opening. I mean, it was just like, wow, they diving on the floor and they're not down at all. And then when you have a couple guys on the team, I think they may have 2 or 3 guys that have maybe made 5 to 7 threes in a game. That's a little interesting there. You know that they're guys. If you don't defend them, they'll make shots. But he has a typical ACC team that's never quitting, and for us coming off a pause, you know, we got to come with that junkyard dog defense, and we got to come with the aggressive offensive system that we put in, and try to get some confidence back to playing the way we think we need to play it down the stretch here, you know, for us to be successful. This time of year, you know, most teams are getting in rhythm. You know, they seeing the finish line, and we kind of trying to regroup. But I've had a long relationship with Steve and got a lot of respect for him.
Go to Lane Hurt.
Coach, you said handling the season was going to take a lot of maturity from your team. What signs do you look for from your guys on the court to show that they've handled the time away the way you wanted them to?
Our team has been extremely disciplined in how they conduct themselves on and off the court. You know, we really, you know, unfortunately, we've been caught up in some unfortunate protocols, but we really, really have been one of the better teams in the country in terms of not being affected, not personally, physically, medically being affected by the pandemic. You know, we have really, really been exceptional in terms of us not allowing ourselves to put ourselves in situations where, from a medical standpoint, we've been we've been affected because of just the protocol and all those types of things, but not because our guys have been reckless and frivolous and put out the teammates in jeopardy. So from that maturity standpoint, I think that I'm very proud of our guys. We have eight guys who are going to graduate. They've done a very good job of putting themselves in position. I got 4 graduate students, walk-ons. That just shows a lot about the chemistry, the culture we have on our team, that guys like being around. And we have guys who are in the graduate. So I'm pleased with that part of it. The thing that concerns us is most coaches of how are we going to respond to who we are, how are we going to maintain that consistency that I think you need here down the stretch. We have guys changing roles, Polite, Turk, Marquand Gray, Evans, Wyatt, Malik, those guys.
If you need me, hey, if you need me, go put those in those blue boxes, and then I'll talk to you when you come back.
Hey, those are done, and already done.
Okay, those guys are changing roles. I've been very pleased. I thought that Anthony Polite was our best on-the-ball defender. He was shooting almost 50% from 3. We lost him. That 3-game stretch in 6 days affected us. I mean, I didn't know. I went to Louisville, didn't know whether MJ was going to play. Scotty didn't practice. We only lost. We lost a Polite. Those 3 games in 6 days, those stretches take a toll on youngsters, and that was, I wasn't looking forward to the 4 games and that other 8 or 9 day stretch that we were facing on, and 3 of them being on the road. So that was a little bit challenging for us right before the pause. So but maturity wise, we've adjusted, I think. Having a point guard that's going from a power forward to a point guard. I mean, I'm just amazed that Scotty Barnes has made that seamless transition when in reality, most of the guys who are playing point guard in the Power 5 level, those guys have been playing point guard since they was 8, 9, 10 years old. Here's a guy who's been a power forward. We put the ball in his hands, and he's leading us in assists. He's making big shots for us. And just the management of the game, the awareness where everybody is, and understanding not only your position, but understanding how to lead guys in all the other positions is a tremendous challenge when you are familiar with that type of position. So he's made tremendous progress, and his IQ and all of that, but he's still adjusting. So Balsa, our center position, it represents a different contribution in our system. That guy has to set a lot of screens. He has to sprint the floor. He has to roll to the front of the rim. I mean, in other words, he needs to catch slots, and he kick the ball out. Those are new things for Balsa. Last year we were rotating 3 guys in there. And it has to be consistent. And most big guys are not accustomed to always having to run fast. And the way when we switching defensively 1 through 5, all of a sudden now you fronting the post and being physical, and then now you switched off on a 5'10" guard, and you got to contain the dribble, contest the shot, and defend at the rim. Those are adjustments that are just not easy for guys making those adjustments. So from a maturity standpoint, I think that the cake's still in the oven. I keep saying that. We still got our best basketballs ahead of us. And I'm anxious to see, can we regain that And so I've been a little more patient, been a little more understanding when guys are not quite where they need to be, because we got a lot of moving parts. I just want to continue to see how many games we can win while we're growing and developing. And I'm hoping that we can get in this next little phase and really see how much progress we can make. And hopefully we'll start peaking at the right time.
Go to Kurt Weiler.
Kind of along those lines. I mean, you often early in the season talk about the importance of just improving, and hopefully you can win games while you're improving. I'm sure that's not something you want to be saying this far into a season, but obviously this is a season kind of unlike any other. I guess how important, like you talked about, is this stretch of 7-8 games and building that momentum of just playing and the results, hopefully winning, but it's being able to stay on the court heading into the postseason.
Well, the most important thing for us now is not to try to get too far ahead of ourselves. Even though I mentioned the 7-game stretch, the only way we're going to have some success, we're going to take it one game at a time. But I'm reducing it down to one possession in practice. In other words, I want us to be in the moment in practice in every possession, offensively and defensively. In other words, that's what we really challenge them right now. And we challenge them to coach themselves, call each other out, hold each other accountable, so that if my buddy comes off the court, I'm right there with him. You know, you can run faster, you can get over that screen a little better. You know, you got to you got to see the man in the ball. You know, you're not getting to your weak side help position. In other words, we're in that period where we've missed some games, we're a little short on games, then we can't afford to miss out on some of these opportunities that we have left. And the only way to prepare for that is to take it one day at a time. And I'm reducing to one possession. Yesterday's practice I thought was a very, very focused practice. But when you have 3 games coming up in I think 8 days, and the challenge is we've missed 9 or 10 days, we can't go out and spend all our time conditioning, because we got a stretch of 3 games we got to play in a short period of time. So we got to get our conditioning and our work ethic and our effort that we're going through, and then we're gonna have to shorten it up so we can. We got a Saturday, Monday game. We got Saturday game, then we got a Monday game against the number 1 team in our league, and then we got the number 3 team in our league coming in on the next Saturday. So we got a lot to do right now. You know, we got a lot of what we have to accomplish, but the only way that you can be effective and put yourself in the best position to be in there is we got to have a great practice today. It's got a lot of it's got to be as much mental. We got to coach their minds as much as we do their bodies, and that started yesterday. You know, with our mental approach, and I must say I was pleasantly surprised to the guys yesterday in their approach.
Franny, you got anything for Coach today?
No, just to say hi, Coach. I think I'm on your game, but that could change in the next 24 hours. I hope I get a chance to watch you, man. I'm just glad to be in the Yankee lineup with A-Rod and Jeter, you know.
Oh, my God.
So now I'm scheduled to do the game, but we've had some Big 12 issues. We'll see what happens. But it's always great to hear your voice.
Oh, man. Are you still in Dallas?
You know what? We're up in Colorado Springs right now. You know, I'm hanging out up here in 20-degree weather.
Wow. Hey, you been to Europe? You been over to Europe very much and seen anything?
No, I haven't been anywhere. I'm like, you know how it is.
Yeah.
I'm not traveling.
No. Are you living in Texas now? Are you living in Colorado?
No, we sold our house in Dallas, but we have an apartment there. But I love Colorado now. Get out of that heat.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. In Colorado Springs?
Yeah.
Man, how you move from New York to Colorado Springs? What's up with that?
I'm in witness protection.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, I like the little piece of quiet. I'm just teasing you. I was in Miami I don't think I'll be going back. Okay.
I know you. I know you. You're going to be on a farm somewhere with all that real estate.
No. Look, I think you might want to look for me somewhere around the ocean, listen to those waves.
I like it. No, I hope I see you, but I'm following the team, and I always appreciate what you're doing for all those young coaches out there.
All right, buddy.
Austin Cox, you have a question today?
Just asking you, Coach Hamilton, the last couple of years, you've had Devin 2 years ago and Patrick the year before, freshmen really kind of get better as the year goes along. You talked a little bit about Scotty. What's kind of the potential for him to just take it to a whole nother level down the stretch?
Well, he has an unbelievable high IQ, and we know he has infectious energy and personality. That has really been very pleasant with, because he's the other day we were in the breakfast, and he walked in for the breakfast and hugged every one of the players before he sat down. I mean, that's uncommon for a guy to have that type of infectious personality. He walked in for breakfast and he went and hugged every one of his teammates, all 18 of them, before he sat down in his seat. Now, that's a guy who, and he's clapping, he's talking, he's energetic. He loves to play. He loves the atmosphere. He loves he has that personality that I think that really that I'm proud of as it relates to what he brings. And he's still learning. He's humble, but he's confident too now. When the game's on the line, I think he normally plays. He's at his best.
Thank you, Coach.
And the good thing is that I think he has, to answer your question specifically, I think he has just because of the nature of his transition, learning a new position. I mean, he's effective now and instrumental in our games, and I think he has a lot of room for improvement. Now, in case you guys wonder why he's been coming off the benches, other than he turned his ankle, he had a little strain, and he likes to be warmed by riding the bicycle, for a couple of minutes before he goes into the game. And a couple of things that it gives him a chance to kind of watch the flow of the game, but it also, he has the same issue. If you remember last year, we had Devin Vassell's, when he came out of the game, he would be riding the bicycle as well, because he's getting stronger. It's not a strain. It's just his high hips and big long legs. He just likes to be warm, and because of the ankle turn, he had two little minor, I don't want to say strains or pulls, just a bruise. Those things that we deal with when you play. And so after turning the ankle, and then kind of whatever little strain he had there, tweaked, I guess you might say, he has not been affected by warm. Once he gets warm, he's in good shape. So I think the sky's the limit for him, and he has a very, very high ceiling. And I know he's shooting the ball much better. His release, his form, he's consistent with his landing, and he's a sponge. He's eager to learn, and he's very coachable.
Thanks.
Take a question from Ben if he has one.
Yeah. Hi, Coach. I just, wanted to ask you, over the years, your team seemed to respond well to losses. And after the last break, your team was able to really string together a great stretch of games. How do you expect them to respond to adversity now? And what do you want to see out of this team for the rest of the regular season? You keep talking about, the cake being in the oven, but what specifically would you like to see out of your team?
In the first place, I don't look in the rearview mirror and worry about losses. And I don't look in the crystal ball to see what the future is going to be. I stay in the moment. And right now, the moment I'm in is preparing ourselves for the next practice. And that's what I can control. I try to stay out of the hypotheticals and the what ifs. And that's not the way that's my approach. You know, I try not to be motivated by a loss. I try not to be motivated by the upcoming game. I want to be consistent. I want to have a consistent focus where we can be in that moment and not need anything other than what's in your spirit and what's in your heart to motivate you. You know, I'm excited about getting started. I'm excited about our approach today in practice. And if you utilize that point, you don't have the highs and the lows. You don't need a loss to motivate you. You don't have to be excited about the big game coming up next week. What we want to do is just try to help youngsters understand how we think we got to prepare in order to be successful.
Guys, any more questions today? All right, I'm going to keep Coach Hamilton on. We're going to go to West